So, what does truly effective teaching actually look like? The kind that reaches every single student in the room? It's a huge question, right? But the answer might just be simpler than you think. Today, we're going to break down a really powerful five-part framework that can honestly transform any classroom. This is the fundamental challenge for every teacher. In any classroom, you've got this incredible diversity of needs. So how do you design a lesson that serves as a strong foundation for everyone, from the students who need a little extra support to the ones who are ready to just fly? Well, the answer starts with something educators call core instruction. You might also hear it called Tier 1 instruction. Basically, think of it as the main event. It's that whole group lesson that acts as the foundation for everybody. Getting this part right is absolutely key to building a classroom where every single student can thrive. So, how do we build it? Okay, let's dive in. It's not some single magic bullet. Nope. Instead, it's this really versatile framework built on 5 essential elements, and it helps to think of them as building blocks. So, over the next few minutes, we're literally going to construct a foundation for great teaching, piece by piece. We're going to explore each of these 5 building blocks and see exactly how they fit together to create a learning environment that's both powerful and supportive. Let's lay down our first block. The absolute bedrock of any great lesson is the curriculum. But what makes a curriculum truly effective? Let me tell you, it is not just about following a script. And what's so important here is this idea of personalization. You can have the most well-researched, standards-aligned curriculum on the planet, but if it doesn't connect the actual unique kids in that room, you risk losing them completely. Relevance, you see, is the bridge to engagement. So, a really great curriculum has to do it all. It's got to be aligned with standards, sure, but it also needs to connect to future careers, support students' emotional well-being, and, crucially, tap into their actual interests. It's all about designing lessons with the student's perspective front and center, helping teachers really get what makes learning meaningful for them. Okay, with our curriculum in place, let's add our second block, foundational skills. We're talking about literacy and numeracy. And these aren't just for English and math class, okay? They are the absolute essential tools for thinking and problem solving in every single subject. This is a perfect example of how it works. A standard science lesson might just have students do the steps, fine. But by adding a literacy layer, students are also outlining those steps, they're working on their writing, and they're practicing their speaking skills. All of a sudden, that science lesson becomes a powerful literacy builder too. And the same exact thing goes for numeracy. A history teacher can talk about budgeting for a war. A PE teacher can have students analyze their performance data. An art teacher can get into measurement and proportion. When you embed these skills everywhere, you make students stronger, more versatile thinkers. All right, time for block number 3. So far we have the what, our curriculum and our foundational skills. Now we need the how. This block is all about the teacher's toolkit of proven high-impact teaching strategies. So the crucial point here isn't about chasing the latest, trendiest teaching fad. It's about having a toolbox of strategies that are backed by research, things like summarizing or cooperative learning, and knowing which tool is right for which job. You've got researchers like Robert Marzano and John Hattie who have shown that certain techniques just have a bigger impact than others. The real key is knowing when and how to use them. Now, these last 2 blocks are so deeply connected that we really have to look at them together. They form this incredibly powerful feedback loop. Block 4 is all about monitoring what's happening with the students, and Block 5 is about the teacher understanding their own impact. Here's a research-backed fact we just can't get around. If students are not engaged, they are not learning at their full potential, period. That's why intentionally keeping an eye on engagement isn't just a nice to have, it is an absolute necessity for effective teaching. And look, monitoring doesn't have to be some big, complicated thing. It's really just about being intentional. It means asking really good questions, watching how students interact when they're working together, and using simple tools like quick polls or exit tickets to get a daily pulse on both engagement and understanding. Now, what's so cool about this is it brings us to the final and maybe the most vulnerable part of this feedback loop, the teacher turning the lens around on themselves. When a teacher sees themselves as a learner, it just opens the door to getting honest feedback from the most important source of all, the students. Just asking a question like this is so powerful. Instead of guessing what works, the teacher is getting direct data from the end user.
It's such a constructive way to find out what's really landing with them and what isn't without putting anybody on the defensive.
And this one, wow. This is the ultimate act of vulnerability and commitment to getting better. It sends a huge signal to students that their voice actually matters and that their teacher is dedicated to creating the best possible learning experience for them. This is how a good teacher becomes a truly great one.
So let's put it all together real quick. 1. A relevant curriculum. 2. Weaving in those foundational skills. 3. Using the right strategies for the job. And then you create that crucial feedback loop by monitoring students and understanding your own impact. And when all 5 of these blocks are in place, they don't just sit there next to each other. No, they lock together to create this solid, reliable foundation, an effective core instruction that can truly support the diverse needs of every single kid in that classroom.
And that brings us to our final thought for today. Each of these building blocks is powerful on its own, for sure, but they all offer a different point of leverage. So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. If you had to pick just one of these to focus on and strengthen tomorrow, which one do you think would create the biggest, most immediate positive change for students?